What is going on YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a fun little match. It's going to be between myself playing Imperialdramon on the right, and then on the left is going to be Team Scrub Out, who is playing Highlander green. And so if you don't know what Highlander means, that means you play one copy of each card. So you're going to have 50 different cards in your main deck and 5 different eggs in your egg deck. And the reason my opponent is playing a deck like this is because this local J&J's is going to be holding a Highlander only local here next week, which is something that I will most likely be playing in myself and getting coverage of. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe so you get notified when those videos come up. But for now, let's go ahead and get on into the match. I have this Yakomon in Raising, which is going to be very important because since this is a green Highlander deck, I can only assume that they're playing most of their Digisorption cards, so that way that they can get those free draws and make sure that they get up into their Megas and Ultimates. So with Yakomon out, we're going to be able to shut down the Digisorption as well as HPD, which is something that they obviously will be playing here. And Davis going to come out, going to hit the double Davis, grabbing the Vmon. The jamming Vmon is going to be a little bit more important than the Gabumon. I don't need to draw as much since in this list you get a lot of draw with the Demi Vs. And then with the jamming Vmon, we're going to be able to threaten a lot of pressure. And since there is only one of each card in this deck, that means that the presence of Flower Cannon or Needle Spray is a bit lower. So don't need to worry about those being in security as much. If they are there, then they are there. But each card is going to have a little bit lower of a chance of showing up. So I have to not play around as many cards as I would in the green matchup as I normally do, just because there aren't duplicates. So that's why you'll see some reckless plays in here. But we see that our opponent has a couple blockers up, which is going to be a bit annoying because it is going to shut down the jamming Vmon. But we do have the Dino B, which is going to shut down the blockers just a little bit since we do have those piercing checks coming in. Gonna see my opponent's thinking of what they want to play here. They don't have an ultimate so far, it seems like. We're going to see another champion come out, so either lacking the ultimates or just wanting to go wide on board. But now I'm going to be able to Digivolve into a second Dino Bmon, meaning that I can get past both these blockers with the piercing and get the checks in. And like I said, I will be playing a bit reckless in this matchup because there is only one Nidhogg in the list. So as much as if my opponent went into an ultimate and then went into Nidhogg, I would be in quite a bit of trouble here. I just have to play around my opponent not having it because I haven't been finding my Imperial yet, so I'm not going to be able to unsuspend my Digimon. And if I just keep playing around Nidhogg, then I'm never really going to be able to develop anything. So just got to keep going aggressive, keep swinging with these Dino Bs and see what my opponent wants to do. They're going to go with the Wormmon into the Kabuterimon in Raising. Now the Izzy and the Mimi out of security is going to be a bit annoying because I'm pretty much going to be suspended almost every single turn since I want to keep attacking. So the Izzy Joe is going to continue to keep getting memory for my opponent. But we will see them go ahead and Needle Spray or Flower Cannon to swing over the Yakomon and then actually gain a memory from Ken since they did have a green Digimon swing over. Now when I saw this, I assumed that meant that there was going to be some Digisorption going on in here, but my opponent actually just decides to go for a Mimi here, putting me at 3 thanks to Davis. And so I was a bit confused on why they went for that play there. I guess they just wanted to get some Digimon off of the board. I'm going to go ahead and swing with the Vmon here to get the draw, and my opponent's going to block, which is actually kind of what I wanted because now I have 2 Dino Bs, which I'm going to be able to swing over my opponent's suspended Digimon. I play the Gorillamon there, trying to cycle. I'm still not finding the Imperial. At any point, if I find Imperial, this game's pretty much over because then I'll not have to worry about playing around Nidhogg, as to where each turn I'm going to have to continue to play around or play into Nidhogg. So we're going to get both the piercing jamming checks here, going to get rid of the top security, and Hammer Spark up to 3, so that way I can Digivolve into Imperialdramon, hoping to find Imperial again, but I'm not going to find it. Still cycling. You can see all the cycle that I'm doing, just trying to find Imperial here to try to play around Nidhogg, but I was able to clear off most of the board here. There is just the Roachmon left, but not too worried about the Roachmon itself. I'm more worried about if they Digivolve, but again, the Izzy and the Mimi going to keep giving them a bunch of memory, but if they don't find the ultimate, then there isn't going to be any real threat there anyway. My opponent's going to Digivolve into the Togemon, but they don't find what I assume they're looking for is the Nidhogg, and then just scoop it up, so I will take game 1. And then going into game 2, my opponent will choose to go first, which, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think is correct. When you're playing a Highlander deck, you probably want to draw as much as possible, so you can try to find those main key cards that you do actually want, such as Reflagemon, Lilamon, Nidhogg, especially Nidhogg that last match. So I feel like getting that extra draw could be a little bit important, but opponent's going to decide to go first anyway, and then getting a Mimi out early, so I am now behind as far as memory tamers go, and my opponent can just start choking me if they want to. And then with the Mimi, if they do find the level 5 this game, which I can only assume that they do, that they'll be able to start tapping that Mimi and start hatching eggs and promoting, which will be annoying. But I can play the Siakomon here, putting my opponent at 3 that they're going to be anyway, and shutting off the Digisorption and the HPD once again. Now my opponent's going to start building up in raising here, and then they could go into an ultimate if they wanted to and hatch the Mimi. But looking at their hand, I'm not sure if they have the ultimate, but we will see that from this draw here they do get the Lilamon. So gonna put the Lilamon, that's gonna put me at 1, which is a bit annoying, but now they do have the ultimate on board, and they have the Lilamon to start suspending some of my Digimon and start swinging over them, which is going to be annoying, especially if they go into a Mega, because with the Mimi on board, Lilamon will be able to just suspend my Digimon with the Inheritable, pretty much making my Grizzlymon useless, and then they probably won't have to do any Digibursting, especially if they do go into the Mega, but I am going to bounce it back. I want to slow down my opponent as much as possible, and then also make it so that if they want to go into the Lilamon, then they are going to more than likely have to end their turn when Digivolving, just because greens do have a lot of higher Digivolution costs, and we do have the HPD shutdown. But unfortunately, we are going to see that my opponent does have the one of Reflagemon here. And so now my opponent can choose to shut down pretty much everything. The Digiburst with the Reflagemon can make anything not attack or block. And then with the swing here, they will be able to attack, suspend my Grizzlymon, and so I don't even have the option to block. Although I'm not sure if blocking there would even be the correct play, but they do suspend it, and then if they wanted to, they could Digiburst to make it so my Siakomon can attack, but they know that I'm not going to attack with it. I want it on board to shut down the Digisorption, so would be a little bit waste of a Digiburst since my opponent isn't going to expect me to attack, and if I do, it's just going to be a little bit of a misplay if it does die. Now I'm going to go ahead and Digivolve into the Lobomon to start cycling, and I finally find the Davis, so I'm going to play that out as soon as possible so I can start getting the memory out that I need and start getting those resources. I do have a Nidhogg in hand, and so I am starting to try to play around the game plan of go into Dino Beamon and then go into the Nidhogg once my opponent starts suspending their Digimon. The Agumon and the Mushroomon are pretty much already just going to go to the bottom deck with the Nidhogg, so as long as they don't Digiburst or Digivolve those, then I will be pretty happy because I'll be able to get rid of most of the board, considering that my opponent did just suspend their Lilamon, suspending the Grizzlymon once again so I can't block. Now the Mushroomon will be able to swing in. It hits the Sealamon, but thanks to Reflagemon's Digiburst, it is at 6k instead of the 5k, so we'll survive that check. And although the Agumon is boosted up as well, it's just a bit too weak for it to really stand a chance of surviving insecurity. So we're going to see the Togemon come out again, searching for a level 5 or higher, but will whiff. And we also get to see that the Flower Cannon did go to the bottom of the deck, and so that is not something that we have to worry about. There could just be the Needle Spray still, but don't have to worry about that too much. So my board is suspended now, and my Lobomon can't attack, but like I said, I've been kind of wanting this because now I can go for a really big Nidhogg here and clear off everything on the board besides the Puppetmon. And then with my opponent having the Puppetmon and the Lilamon in back, I know that I am safe because they're not going to be able to get all those checks in. So just deciding what I want to Digivolve. But now I'm going to go just into the Dino B and then go straight into the Nidhogg, and I will still have 1 memory at the end of this, so I can pretty much clear the board and do something else. So that was a lot of memory for my opponent to give me with the Puppetmon. So I was able to clear the board, and then now I'll be able to develop another Vmon on board just so I can go wide. By having another Digimon on board, I'll have 4 on board and then 1 coming up from raising, and so my opponent will have 3 checks. And so even if they put up a blocker, I could technically go for game here. So I assume that my opponent is going to try and swing over my Grizzlymon with the Puppetmon and then Digivolve into the Lilamon to swing over the Siakomon. But they actually just attack into security and gain a memory, and at that point I was like, okay, Needle Spray, or I probably win, or there's just something that I'm missing here. And then they go into the Flymon at 2. I was a little confused about the memory there because I forgot to add the memory from the Puppetmon, but my opponent does go down to 2 there. And then thinking about what they want to go into, like I said, they are a little bit in danger. Can't Digizorp right now, but they can swing the Flymon over the Siakomon to get 1 Digimon off board, but opting to go with the Cherrymon instead. But my opponent does have a plan here. They are going to go into the Chaosmon to swing over the Nidhogg, which is going to give me 1 check, so I can hit the Davis, and I can get really whatever I want from here. I grabbed the Imperialdramon, but I don't think it matters too much now. I don't have the game on board now just because my opponent has the Cherrymon on board. Although I could clear all the security, it is a bit of a reckless move here, and I don't want to play that reckless, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I am going to go into the Imperialdramon, and now I can just go straight into the Imperial. I didn't want to swing with the Imperialdramon because the Cherrymon would just block it. So I can swing, unsuspend, and swing, and then I can swing, it'll get blocked, and then now I have the 2 checks. So my opponent was playing around it there a bit, but just not enough. But with that being said, that is going to be this match. If you are interested in seeing the Highlander event, make sure to like and subscribe because I will be having that uploaded here soon. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day and peace out.